Hey there, I'm Jen Mueller, host of the Unrivaled podcast, the podcast where athletes share their journey to becoming pros and the passions that fuel them outside of their sport. Today, our guest is CJ Ham, fullback for the Minnesota Vikings, a former 4-year letter winner in football and track and field in college. CJ doesn't just spend time on the field, he's also a voice in the community advocating for children with disabilities. We'll get to that part of the story soon enough, but first we need to say hello. Hey there, CJ.
What's going on?
Not much. It's just great to talk football, to talk community, and really to spend a few minutes with you today.
I appreciate it. I'm honored to be on.
So I know that you're a football player now, but football was not the first sport that you played, or at least the first sport that was on your radar. How many sports did you play growing up?
I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club, so I kind of did a little bit of everything. But what I really specialized in was first, playing basketball. That's something I wanted to do. Then I got into football and then track and field. So those are the 3 sports I focused on, all the way throughout high school, and then even did track in college.
When did you recognize that football, though, could be a pretty big opportunity for you?
I started playing football in 5th grade and just fell in love with it. But I think when I turned 14, so 8th grade or so, I was 5'10", 205 pounds, and kind of figured that football was kind of my way. And I wanted to be a basketball player, but I wasn't really growing much anymore. So that was kind of the time I figured out that football was kind of something I wanted to focus on.
Side note, how many of your teammates have similar stories? I know a ton of football players that all wanted to be basketball players, that all think they could still be basketball players, and yet they're on the football field.
That is very true. There's not too many people in the locker room, if you ask them if they can play basketball, that they say no. So off seasons could be very interesting if we go to the court.
And looking at your history, you went to Augustana College or Augustana University. How would most people have heard of or known about that?
Augustana is a small school. It's a small private school in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Very known for their education. Also very known for being great in Division II sports too. So they sought me out, recruited me, and it was kind of easy for me to pick that.
And how many people, when they mention the school that you go to, did exactly what I just did and slightly mispronounce it or stumble over it?
When I was first getting recruited by Augustana, I used to call it Augustana as well. So no worries at all.
Okay, so I don't feel so bad about that. But was that an easy decision or a tough decision? Anytime that you're committing to something for a long time, it's nice that they came and recruited you, but where did you really see the opportunity there for you?
Like I said, the school is just great. And, right away when I went there, at first I thought I wanted to go to a big school. I had dreams of going to, Michigan and University of Minnesota and just all these big time schools. But obviously that wasn't a reality for me at the time. So going to Augustana, seeing the small community, seeing how great the school is, and then also just fitting in with the coaches and just the people there in the athletic department just made it very easy for me to make that decision.
And the benefit of hindsight means you can see that you made it to the NFL, which is an incredible accomplishment. But were there times when you were there that you wish you had gone to a bigger school?
A lot of the times while I was there, my 5 years, I registered my freshman year, many people told me like I could play Division I, or you should transfer, or have you thought about transferring? It wasn't really something that was really on my radar. I didn't commit to Augustana to make it to the NFL. I committed to Augustana to get a great education, and I met my wife there, and everything happened for a reason.
When did NFL scouts start showing up at your games?
After my junior season, coach had called me during track season and said a couple teams were going to come out and do a junior day with me and a couple other players from USF, the school across the street. So that was kind of my first eye-opening experience to maybe I couldn't make it to the NFL. People always said it and joked about it, but I never really, like I said, it was never something I guess really thought was going to happen.
Was it because of the track and field background that attracted them? Obviously you had skills on the football field, but was it track and field that kind of helped pushed it over the edge for some of those guys?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure when it comes to that. I just did track because I just absolutely loved it, and I still love it today. I find myself watching, shot put and hammer videos on Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff. But, it was my senior year where I was kind of on the radar, and I had a handful of teams come out and do evaluations on me during the season. And that's when I knew that, this really could happen.
What were your events?
I was a shot putter and hammer thrower.
And you still hold a record?
No. So my record I think it was broken. I want to say last year. It was last year it got broken. So I had it for a good, 2-3 years so strong. So it's all right.
You can be gracious and let somebody else take the top spot for a little bit, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
So here's what I find amazing. You're a two-sport athlete in college. You lettered 4 years in both sports, and you weren't just involved in athletics. You weren't just involved in your studies. You really found a voice in the community. Where did the passion come from to advocate for children with disabilities?
It came from my childhood. I grew up with a stutter. I was bullied for it. It led to, an angry childhood and just made things kind of tough. It kind of put a fear in me to, even open my mouth or talk in front of anybody other than my family and friends. And, that fear stayed with me all the way through college, to the point where I had to seek help in college and ask the speech therapist majors if there's something that we could do, because I knew the NFL was something on my radar. I knew interviews would happen and I'd have to speak, and I was definitely afraid of it. To the point where, I'd tell professors that hey, I really don't want to talk, or in class I'm not going to talk. So it was just something that was really deep embedded from my childhood, and I soon realized that my disability, my speech impediment, I was going to use it to the best of my ability, and speak on behalf of anybody who is struggling with something that they have fear with.
So I have two questions on that. When you say angry childhood, how did that manifest itself for you? Were you angry at the world? Were you angry at siblings? Were you acting out in class? Were you distracted? What did that look like?
It really it was, sometimes getting into trouble because, I would get teased for it. I would get bullied for it. And, it comes down to, standing up for yourself. And so that's kind of where my childhood was. And I learned very quickly that, anger is not the way to go about it. So I grew up very fast. And, now it's something that I try to use to my best of my ability to speak on behalf of those who are struggling with something.
So what was it that helped calm that disability? Because I talk to you and I don't hear any of that. I'm not going to say that you're cured or that it's a miracle, but what helped make the difference when you started asking those speech majors?
I think it comes down to just acknowledging it, and obviously it comes down to therapy. I started therapy in third grade and did it pretty much my entire life leading. Before I started college, I didn't do it, but then my senior year, I started doing it again. So therapy, obviously techniques helped me as well, but I also think it's just my attitude towards it, and not letting my speech impediment define who I am. And I did that for so long that, that was who I was. And it's also pretty much a reason why I got into sports in a way, is because I was being teased for it, because I let myself feel that I was only being viewed because of my speech impediment. That when I found sports and I found that I was good at it, and I found that, people weren't teasing me or people weren't looking at me because of how I spoke, but because of what I did on the field or the court or on the track. So that's why I started playing sports.
What's the lesson you learned about yourself as you overcame that disability?
That, you can really do, and as cliche as it is, you can do anything you put your mind to. I today I've talked in front of lots of people. The most people I've spoken in front of, I think, was about 60,000 people at a youth Christian event. And, just thinking about it gives me chills, because there's no way I would have ever even thought about doing something like that. If it wasn't for, really my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and who I put my faith in, and, just helped me get through a lot.
So what organizations are you involved in now in helping kids who are in similar positions?
So like I said, I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club, and the Boys and Girls Club is still very, very close to me. Every time I go back home, I always make sure to stop by and say hi to the kids. I attend the gala. I've attended the gala for the last 3 years. So just being really involved in there and just knowing how much the Boys and Girls Club can really help a child who needs it. And then I try to do any and every community event that the Vikings have for me as well.
Speaking of those Vikings, let's go back to the transition that you made between college and pros. Coming out of college, even though you had guys looking at you, you were on the radar of NFL scouts, you went undrafted, right?
Yeah.
How hard was it waiting for the phone to ring and trying to figure out what was going to happen? I can only imagine how high your hopes were.
Yeah, that was, I'll never forget those couple of days. So now obviously kind of knew I wasn't going to get drafted. I mean, I had talked to a handful of scouts after my pro days and saw some interest, but nothing too serious. And I was actually on a group chat with about 8 or so other guys in the South Dakota area who were seeking the same thing. And we were talking all 3 days, and they're texting saying, "Hey, this team just offered me a tryout like in the middle of the draft," or this team's thinking about picking me up, but they're gonna wait it out. And I wasn't hearing anything, so I was kind of upset. And when the draft was over, my wife would tell you, it's probably the first time I cried in a while. I broke down. I was sad. And then it was the following Sunday, the Vikings had called and given me a tryout. And that was my only shot. I didn't have any other tryouts lined up. And I guess I made the most of it. And I'm blessed to be where I'm at today.
I can only imagine the extra emotion when you find out that it's the hometown team calling. And I can only imagine that you as a kid pictured being in a Vikings uniform. Does reality live up to those imaginations that you had as a kid?
Definitely. Like you said, right away, it was a dream come true. I have so many pictures of myself in a Chris Carter jersey growing up as a kid. So it was something, obviously a dream to play in the NFL, but even more of a blessing to be in my home state and be close to family and be able to share these experiences with my close friends. It's definitely been a blessing. I can't believe I'm going into year 5 right now, and I'm just happy.
And I don't think people realize that just when you make the team the first time or the first year does not mean that is a guaranteed or a given again, or even for an entire season. So what was the level of anxiety those first couple of years as you were trying to make sure that you stuck?
Yeah, a lot of anxiety. It's I never had a guaranteed contract or anything like that. So it was every year going out there and proving it, always battling it out with another fullback as well. So it was a lot of anxiety, being kind of newly married, having kids. You just never really knew. And still to this day, we don't really plan for things, that far ahead. You just never know what's going to happen in this business. But like I said, we're happy and we're comfortable, and we're looking forward to, another season.
You mentioned playing fullback. That was a position change for you. How did you react when they asked you to change positions?
I was more than happy. So my first year, I'll be going in as a running back. I was super happy. I was almost surprised because I kind of thought that fullback was going to be my way, but they saw me as a running back as well. So it was cool to live out that dream for a year. And then the following year, bringing in Latavius Murray and drafting Dalvin, I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to compete my butt off, but we'll see what happens. But that's when they called and they wanted me to try fullback, and I was more than happy to do anything to make the team.
Fullback is a position that you don't see very much around the NFL. Did you ever question the viability of playing that for any length of time? No, I didn't question anything. I was just ready to get on the field and do whatever it was that they wanted me to do. I saw it really as, the Vikings, giving me an opportunity to make the team. And I was more than happy to do it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Really good fullbacks all share very similar characteristics. I've known some great ones, and I'm curious how that position actually embodies who you are and everything that you have been through and the challenges that you've overcome and the work that you've put in.
Fullback is a very unique position, and I honestly feel like it's taught me a lot in these last handful of years. Being a running back my whole life, getting a lot of the glory scoring touchdowns, getting the ball, and then playing fullback where you don't get the ball as much. And, to the outside world, you're not as valuable, but, to your teammates love you and respect what you do. It's really just showing me that it's, continue to go out and work hard, and respect will come from those who matter most. And, just fullback is a very aggressive, a very aggressive position. And, outside of football, I'm not aggressive in any way. I'm a family guy. Most of my teammates will tell you that I'm singing most of the time in the locker room, on the field, singing songs that, that you would not expect me to be singing. And to be able to flip that switch and be aggressive, it's a fun thing to do.
And it sounds like it is truly the perfect position for you. And it really is kind of who you have become in the community, on the football field, just that hardworking guy that not everybody is going to see, but is doing amazing things. Thanks for sharing some of those amazing things with us, CJ.
I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck this season. This is the Unrivaled podcast, giving fans a refreshing look at sports. I'm Jen Mueller. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Look for Unrivaled's next Inside the Jersey profile of a likable professional athlete coming soon.